Hi, I'm Pat Morris, your host for the PM Talk Show. Our telecast is made possible by these fine underwriters, and we thank them very much.
Locally owned and operated by Drs. Wheat and Boobridge, the Animal Care Center in Hammond and Pet Care Center in Ponchatoula have 6 vets on staff with nearly a century of combined experience. Celebrating our 30th birthday in May, the Animal Care Center has offered a full line of veterinary services, which includes medicine, surgery, grooming, boarding, and 7 days a week emergency services. Our mission is to provide the highest quality of veterinary care in a professional, compassionate manner. The Animal Care Center and Pet Care Center, a commitment to excellence with love and care for your pet.
Hello again, this is Pat Morris, your host of the PM Talk Show. We're out here on beautiful Miller Lake, FPTV 17, and we have with us a very special guest today, Mr. Dennis Wallette Jr. He's the director for the Tangi Parish Mosquito Abatement District, and he also holds a Master's of Science degree in entomology. How are you today?
Doing very well.
Great, great.
How are you?
I'm doing great. We wanted you to come on today because a lot of people in Tangi Parish are concerned about the mosquito problem that we have here, and it seems to be a larger number this year than it has been in the past. So we want to open up the microphone and give you an opportunity to tell our audience what your job is as the director for mosquito abatement, what it is, and how it's affecting the community.
Sure. We are off to I guess a fast and furious start this year. We had a longer winter than normal, but it's been very wet the last 2 months. And weather conditions have been just right to produce a very large hatch-off of mosquitoes. Some are some very aggressive biting species that we don't see a lot of, especially this early in the year. But you know, we've got our hands full. We're doing everything we can to bring them back into control.
Okay, the ones that we don't normally see, where do you think they're migrating from?
A lot of these mosquitoes are produced south of Ponchatoula in the swampy area there. There's some specific species that are produced there, and they're very aggressive biters. The floodwaters that we've got are what floods the eggs and hatches these mosquitoes. So.
Okay, I was telling you earlier, I saw one on my windshield one day, and the color of it, I've never in my life seen that color of mosquito. It was kind of a green iridescent color, and of course it's a frightening sight to look at when you don't know what it is or how it'll harm you if they bite you.
Sure. There are over 60 different species of mosquitoes in Louisiana. We routinely run across about 20 of them that we catch in traps and identify in the lab. You know, this time of year, there's really not any disease yet, human disease such as West Nile virus or Eastern equine encephalitis yet. So right now, your biggest worry is just getting some itchy bites.
Okay. Now, your program, how is that funded?
We are funded through a dedicated property tax. We were created by parish ordinance in 2001. Later that year, there was a tax election. The district actually became operational in 2003. So we've been around we're in our 12th year now.
Mm-hmm. With all of the rain that we've had and all of the standing water, if, say at my home, there's a body of standing water, how far would your organization go out to spray?
Well, there's several components to our program. We have inspectors that are out during the day. Their primary job is treating standing water. The roadside ditches are the primary focus. However, after rain falls and there's a lot of swales, flood water, that water is treated by hand. And what you're treating there are the developing mosquito larvae. They're in that water, and this time of year they can go from egg to adult in less than a week. So you know, when we get rains, the clock is ticking as far as being able to control them in that stage.
Yeah. What would you recommend, or how far out in the parish does your organization do the spraying?
We are not a parish-wide entity. The district is the south end of the parish. We go up to just right at Tickfaw, Highway 442 from Livingston, and then where it meets Highway 40, that continues to St. Tammany, and it's everything south of there.
Okay. Are there any recommendations for getting the same type of coverage on the north end of the parish?
That talk comes up periodically. There seems to be a little more talk this year. There are some parish councilmen who are currently speaking with some of the municipalities. My understanding is they're talking with Tickfaw, Independence, and perhaps Ameet to see if there's an interest in having mosquito control there. But that's in the early stages right now. There's really not a whole lot to tell at this point. They're trying to see how much support they have and to maybe get a formalized request.
Mm-hmm. You know, it's been often said that the only question that's considered a dumb question is a question you don't ask. So at the risk of sounding like I'm asking a dumb question because I don't know and I really want to know.
Okay.
From Ponchatoula to Tickfaw is pretty well covered, and into Livingston. I guess the line's on either way, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. If all of the mosquitoes are not killed by whatever you use, is it possible that they are sensitive enough to know that there's some type of danger for them and they would migrate north?
No, mosquitoes, no, we don't think so. Now, mosquitoes are produced not just in the swamp there. Anywhere where rainfall collects, there's a lot of wooded areas, up in that area and throughout the parish. That water standing on the ground for, like I said, less than a week can produce mosquitoes. And if you're ever in an airplane after a rainfall, it's surprising to see how much water is on the ground, and all of that is potential production area for mosquitoes.
Yeah, and I guess that's why I'm asking, because the area is wooded, there is a potential for a lot of water, and if there's nothing out there to kill the larvae, I guess I'm saying it right, to kill that, then there is a possibility that you'll see a greater number of mosquitoes on the northern end than you would on the south end. Do you think so?
Not so much. Now, sometimes you get a good strong wind from the south, a steady wind. You will find some of the species that are produced in the swamp being pushed many miles to the north. So we see those species of mosquitoes in greater numbers in our traps, even some distance away from the swamp. So it's a constant battle. But what I'm saying also is that those areas are producing their own mosquitoes with rainfall. There's a lot of different species of mosquitoes out there.
Okay. Now, the spray that you use, I'm pretty sure it's got to be non-toxic to humans, right? And pets.
Well, everything has some level of toxicity at a different dose. We're using the materials in the manner that the EPA has deemed to be appropriate and safe. I don't think anybody, no chemical is allowed to use the word safe. Now, if it's used in the appropriate manner, as indicated by the label, is deemed to be used in a safe manner.
So pretty much if I'm walking down the street and the machine or the truck has passed, but that maze or that smoky stuff that you see, if I have to walk through it, I'll be okay.
Yeah, you want to avoid any unnecessary exposure to any pesticide, but there's not anything I think you need to particularly worry about. The material we're putting out less than 1 ounce per acre. Okay. It's produced in an aerosolized spray cloud that drifts and will kill mosquitoes in the air that it contacts. But the material breaks down very rapidly. The half-life on it is in hours. So by the next morning, it's undetectable. It's essentially broken down completely.
And then the mosquitoes are gone. So
The mosquitoes that it contacts. Now the thing is you treat an area, you can have new mosquitoes migrate into that area, or there's also, depending on rainfall, just a new brood of mosquitoes.
Okay, how often does your truck spray?
We send out trucks generally Monday through Friday during the active season, weather permitting. We generally, without a rain out, can spray the entire district in 4 days' time. So if we have a rain out, then that 5th day will allow us to make that up. Or if there's a particularly bad problem in some areas, that 5th day we were able to retreat some selected areas.
So it's a good thing to have, because a lot of people with the West Nile virus, do you have an idea on how many cases Tangipahoa Parish has seen since the outbreak?
The worst we had was in 2002. There were 12 neuroinvasive cases. There were 12 cases 2 years ago. That was a spike that we saw nationwide. Last year we had no human cases. Before that, we've been averaging about 1 case for the last 5 or 6 years of neuroinvasive disease. And that's the more extreme form in the human.
If anyone wanted to, I'm sure you have a website.
We do.
Okay, if anyone wanted to go on and get more information, how would they go about
our
doing
website is www.tangimosquito, TANGIMOSQUITO.org. There's a lot of good information on there. In particular, on the right side of that home screen, there is a map you can click, and it will pull up a map which will show where our trucks are going to be on any given night. And if we have an aerial spray scheduled, you will be able to see that spray block on there. And you can type in your address. It will show you, put a pin where you are in the map. So it's a very useful tool. There's a lot of other good information on there: mosquitoes, mosquito-transmitted diseases, some mosquito myths that we've kind of put to the test. We encourage everybody to go take a look at it.
Right, and that way you know that knowledge is powerful, and and you won't have to worry
Absolutely.
or wonder about it. So you do have aerial sprays. Is that done during the day or during night or both?
No, those are always scheduled in the evening. Most mosquito spraying does take place in the evening, because just, anytime, anybody who's been outside in Louisiana knows just around dusk is when you can expect to hear the buzzes. But it works out well because the spray is most effective in the evening and not during the heat of the day. And you also want to avoid some non-target insects such as bees, which are out foraging during the day. So the aerial sprays are taking place normally about 15 to 20 minutes after official sunset. And generally we're talking about a 10 to 15,000 acre spray block.
Okay. Now we call them love bugs. I don't know the scientific name for them, but does it affect them, or does it work to get rid of them, the same spray?
They're actually larger insects than mosquitoes. The way we can control mosquitoes with such a small amount of chemical is that they're so small. It doesn't take much of a drop of the insecticide to kill the mosquitoes. So larger insects have a built-in buffer. I think probably a lot of people wish our material would be more effective on love bugs than it is, but they're most active flying during the day anyway. So.
Okay. Well, I wish that you all can invent something to take care of that, because they are hazards on our cars. Is there anything else you'd like to share with us? How long have you been the director for Tangipahoa Parish?
I was actually the first employee hired in 2003. So I've been there from the the beginning of the operational program. We've got several people who've been with us for that entire time who were my initial hires. We have a full-time staff of 10 employees.
So does that mean you have 10 trucks for the area that you cover now, or?
No, a lot of during the day, like I said, we have inspectors who are out in the field treating the standing water, and if somebody has a particular problem at their home, these inspectors can go to somebody's home and see if they can identify the source. Sometimes it's a container of water that needs to be emptied, and that can become an educational tool and have people help themselves by paying attention to these containers.
So that's not just a myth. If you have standing water, that would be a strong recommendation.
Absolutely.
To get rid of.
There are some particular species of mosquitoes. The Asian tiger is one that breed almost exclusively in these artificial containers.
He's got a ferocious name.
You know, if you're out in the summer, especially like on your back patio, and you have a little small mosquito biting your ankles and all, that's probably the mosquito. It doesn't fly very far from where it's produced, generally less a block or two. Most people who are having a problem with that mosquito are producing their own mosquitoes, and that's what we find when we go out.
So you want to make sure all of the standing water is emptied and
Yes.
buckets turned upside down and just gotten rid of altogether unless you
Sure,
need them.
you know, and if you have things like bird baths or some containers that you want there, if you flush it out at least twice a week, then the mosquitoes would not be left undisturbed enough to actually go from egg to adult. It doesn't have to be a container as big as that. Potted plants, the water reservoir there at the bottom, that can produce mosquitoes, just thousands over the course of a summer.
Okay. So you would do the same process like dumping the water from the reservoir and putting...
You can do that, or you can put sand or pea gravel in that water reservoir, and there's still water in there for the plant, but there's no depth of water for the mosquitoes to reproduce in.
Okay. So are there any closing comments that you'd like to give? Certainly we've gotten a lot of information today.
Sure. I mean, you know, you want to avoid, especially now, when there's such a large number of mosquitoes, avoid being outdoors during their peak activity periods, which is going to be around dusk, you know, about an hour beyond that. If you need to be outside, wear repellents. Repellents work. DEET is the tried and true one. My personal favorite is one that has the active ingredient called picaridin. It doesn't have that greasy feeling that DEET does, and I find that it works very well. Long clothing, I know our weather's not suitable for that for the most part, but it does help. And like I said, avoid producing your own mosquitoes. Empty containers. If you have standing water, try and eliminate it. Fill in a low spot in your yard if that's producing mosquitoes.
Okay. Well, we certainly want to thank you for coming, Mr. Wallette, and certainly you've given a lot of information, and I'd like to ask the audience, or viewing audience, if you get an opportunity or just take the opportunity to visit the website for the Tangipahoa Parish Mosquito Abatement District, and it's on the bottom of the screen, to learn more about what's going on with the mosquito, how you can get rid of it, and steps that you can take to protect yourself so that you won't have to worry about, well, a mosquito who bit me, will I get the West Nile virus? Because that's a concern for everyone. We want to thank you, and as we get farther into the season, then we want to bring you back.
Absolutely.
And,
Anytime.
and just talk about some more things that your organization has done, because it's been very, very informative.
Thank you.
Pat Marsh, your host, saying knowledge is powerful and it does matter. Thank you for joining us again. Have a great week, and God bless.
Shelters are the best places to find a new pet.
What a perfectly beautiful little lady.
That's where you'll discover healthy, loyal, and loving animals.
You little rascal.
Eager to become a part of your family. A person is the best thing to happen to a shelter pet.
Oh, ladies first.
Be that person. Adopt.
This is living. Hey, kid.
To find out more, visit theshelterpetproject.org.
Your host for the PM Talk Show, and we're doing part 2 of our mosquito segment today, and we have with us Dr. Katie Leger. She's a small animal veterinarian, medicine for small pets, and she's with the Animal Care Center that's located both in Hammond and Ponchatoula. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. We were talking earlier with someone who specializes in mosquitoes and abatement, and we wanted to ask the Animal Care Center to come on because a lot of people are very caring about their pets, and we want to know how can they protect their pets from the mosquito problem that we have in this area right now.
Well, the best thing they can do is make sure they prevent any standing water on their property, so any downspouts, any bird baths, that type of thing. Make sure there's no standing water, and that will definitely cut down on the mosquito population in your yard. And then the other most important thing they need to do is have their pet on a monthly heartworm preventative. So mosquitoes carry a parasite called heartworms, and they can infect your pet when the mosquito bites them. So keeping your pet on a monthly heartworm preventative will prevent that from happening.
Okay, is that something they would get from, say, your company,
yes,
or
it's
something over the counter?
Yeah, something they can get from their veterinarian.
Okay.
They can either get a tablet or a topical, or we even have an injection now that lasts 6 months, and that's a great way. So in case you're prone to forgetting to give the preventative, you can have the injection too.
So if they're out walking the pet for exercise or whatever, they don't have to worry about if a mosquito bites them, if they take that precaution.
Right, they don't need to worry about the mosquito biting their pet if they're on the preventative. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, if a mosquito bites a pet and they have not done that, what do you recommend that they do?
Well, I recommend they bring them in to their veterinarian, and we can run a heartworm test in-house. It's just a drop of blood that we run the test off of, and then we can get them started on a preventative to prevent the heartworms.
Okay, what would some of the symptoms be for a pet that's been bitten by a mosquito?
So mosquito bite, kind of like just like in humans, they could have the swelling, the redness and itchiness, and it's just a little aggravating, just like a mosquito bite in humans. Signs of the heartworm disease would be coughing, kind of lethargy, just laying around not wanting to do anything, and definitely if your pet has any of those signs, you should see a veterinarian right away.
Okay, what would happen if a mosquito who carried the West Nile virus, if that mosquito bit a pet, what would you notice? Right,
so West Nile virus isn't really a big concern in small animals, and dogs and cats. It's mostly a concern more in large animal and horses. Horses definitely have a major problem with West Nile virus, but luckily for us in small animal medicine, we don't have to worry about that one too much.
Yeah. But if someone has a horse and he's bitten, would you be able to treat that horse?
Yes, we would definitely treat the symptoms of it. There is a vaccine to prevent West Nile virus, but you would have to vaccinate them before they're showing any signs of the disease. It's not going to do anything to vaccinate them once they already have the signs.
Okay, for somebody that might not know, what would be that sign?
So horses have neurologic symptoms, kind of stumbling, incoordination. They can have muscle tremors and high fever.
Okay. Okay, is there anything else you'd like to share about animals and preventative things? Because we do have a big outbreak for some reason this year, more than we normally have. And we want to make sure that people get as much information as is possible.
Right. Or just again, it's really important to have your pet on a heartworm preventative. It is a horrible disease that unfortunately will result in death if it's not treated. So the prevention is definitely the best way to keep your pet happy and healthy.
Okay. For those that might not know, where is your clinic located?
Our clinic is located on Club Deluxe Road, right here in Hammond, and there's also one in Ponchatoula, the Pet Care Center in Ponchatoula.
Right. You all are right across from the new Walmarts, right?
We are directly across from the new Walmart.
So if you're out shopping at Walmarts, bring your pet.
Bring your
stop
pet.
by.
Yeah, stop by and see us.
Stop by and see us. Any more closing comments that you'd like to make?
I think that's about it. Just encourage everybody to keep their pet on heartworm preventative, especially during the summer.
Okay. Well, we want to thank you, Dr. Leger, for coming and sharing with us. And throughout the season, the mosquito season, the Animal Care Center will be coming back to talk about pets and some more preventions or whatever it is you need to let the public know about taking care of pets. We want to thank you for coming. Thank the Animal Care Center for being we're a proud sponsor of the PM Talk Show. We're getting ready to come to the very end of the program, and we want to know that we want to continue to give informative information to our viewing audience so that you will be knowledgeable. Do you have a website that you'd like to share?
It is vethammond.net.
Okay, vethammond.net, and I'm sure it has a lot of valuable information out there that you can go to your website and see, and if not, just sometimes stop by and get your animal examined and just have a little chat about what can I do to make my pet's life more better. Now, this is Pat Morris for your host, saying thank you for joining us. We want you to have a great week. Remember that knowledge is powerful, it does matter. Thanks, and God bless.